everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your passive vocabulary active. Let's start! I bet you all have lists of words you learned before, but the problem is you don't use them regularly. Sounds familiar? How to tackle this problem? I'm going to show you in a second. Here are a few tips for language learners and language teachers. If you have a list or a table of words, you simply copy this list and paste it into the chat. Then you prompt chat to practice those words. You can ask it to create a dialogue with these words. And you can prompt chat to create a text, read it out loud for you, and then ask questions about this text. I'm going to show you in a second how to do it. As I mentioned before, if you have your list in a Word format, you simply copy and paste this list into chat. Once you've done it, you will see a list, and also chat can start restructuring or reorganizing them. If we don't want it to do so, we simply click on this black circle next to the text box, and it will stop doing. Now we want to prompt it to do the word practice. So I want to practice those words that I gave you before, and you give me one word from the list. I create a sentence and you correct any mistakes I can make.
Of course. Let's begin. The word is mosque. What sentence can you create with that word?
Oh, that's a hard one. Can you give me an example how I should use this word, mosque?
Certainly. Here's an example sentence. The mosque is a place of worship for Muslims. Now, could you create a sentence using the word mosque?
Okay, I can try. I haven't seen any mosques in that city I visited.
Good effort. Just a small correction. Instead of masks, you meant to say mosques. So your corrected sentence would be, I haven't seen any mosques in that city I visited.
So as you can see, I deliberately mispronounced that word and it corrected me. So that's a good tool, and you can go through the whole list of those words and it will help you to pronounce the word correctly and to use it correctly in a sentence. Let's continue. The next, what you can do, you can simply ask it to create a dialogue and ask you some questions related to that topic, so you can respond and then you can ask it questions as well. So let's see. I'd like to practice some speaking. I'd like you to ask me one question at a time. I will answer, and if I make a mistake, correct me. Use the words from the list I gave you.
Have you ever visited a historic city? If so, which one?
Yes, I've visited a couple of historic cities, Washington, Warsaw, Paris. And how about you? Have you visited any historic cities recently?
That's impressive. I haven't visited any historic cities recently, but I hope to explore some in the future. When you visit historic cities, do you prefer to explore landmarks like cathedrals or castles? Or do you enjoy strolling along canals or lakes?
You know, it usually depends on the weather. If it's rainy, I'd rather spend some time inside. And if it's sunny, beautiful weather, I don't mind strolling along the canals. So you can see now that it can ask you questions, you can ask it questions, and then you can practice speaking using those words that you want to target. And the final tip, as I mentioned before, you can simply ask it to create a text and read it out loud for you. Let's try. Now, I would like you to create a text using those words from the list. And then please ask me one question at a time about that text. And if I make a mistake, correct me.
Sure. Here's a text incorporating the words from the list. I recently visited a historic city known for its beautiful bridges and bustling market. The city was crowded with tourists, but I found it exciting to explore. The cathedral and mosque were impressive landmarks, offering serene places for reflection amidst the noise of the city. I also enjoyed walking along the canal and relaxing by the lake. Overall, it was a memorable experience. Now here's the first question. What landmarks did you find impressive during your visit?
The most impressive landmark was the mosque.
Close. While the mosque was indeed mentioned in the text, it wasn't specified as the most impressive landmark. The text mentioned that both the cathedral and the mosque were impressive landmarks. Now, here's the next question.
And this way, it will keep asking you questions related to the text. So I feel it's a wonderful tool for learners and also for teachers. And after you finish the conversation, you can find the text of the text in a Word format, and then you can simply copy and maybe learn new words if you find any there. So I'm going to show you in a second how to do it. Once you finish your conversation with chat, you can open the text and you will find whatever you need, a dialogue or a text or just new words. And once you find this text, for example here, you can copy and paste it in a Word document if you want to save it. If you're a teacher, you can later on give it to your students to read, and you can use those questions that it asked me. Or if you're a learner and you didn't understand some parts of this text, you can simply ask it to translate into your language. You don't have to switch to another program, it does it automatically here. So it's wonderful to have it at one place. So what I can say is that continue exploring different options that new technology offers, and I hope now you will learn long lists of words and you will remember them much better. So stay tuned and see you.